43 days, the government is set to reopen. The House passed the Senate-approved funding deal, and President Trump signed off on it earlier tonight. But of course, the big news of today centered around Jeffrey Epstein and President Trump. Let's start in the House, where Speaker Mike Johnson finally swore in a new Democratic congresswoman from Arizona who immediately became the final signature needed for a discharge petition to force a vote on releasing the full Epstein files. Tonight, Speaker Johnson said he plans to hold that vote next week. And the big headline today, we got to look at several of the emails in the case. They were released by Democrats on the House Oversight Committee after the panel subpoenaed the Epstein estate. In one email from 2019 to Ghislaine Maxwell and author Michael Wolff, Epstein allegedly wrote that Trump, quote, knew about the girls. We should note that MSNBC has not independently confirmed any allegations in these emails, and Donald Trump has not been accused of any wrongdoing in the case. With that, let's bring in our nightcap, MSNBC senior White House correspondent, and my dear, dear friend Vaughn Hilliard is here. Philip Bump, MSNBC columnist and contributor. Max Rose, former Democratic congressman from New York. He is now a senior advisor to Vote Vets. And Mark McKinnon, who is already the best-dressed person on the panel tonight, former advisor to both George W. Bush and John McCain. Philippe, I start with you and these emails.
Sure.
I understand that this administration continues to say, nothing to see here, except don't look at it, we're not going to show you. What stood out?
I mean, lots of things stood out, right? I mean,
and these are just some emails.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we spend most of the day talking about these 3 emails, but there's this huge tranche of files, like 20,000 files that people have been digging into. All sorts of names have come up. Larry Summers is in there multiple times. Ken Starrs. I mean, there are all these names. Again, not people who are alleged to have engaged in this activity, but people who are in communication with Epstein. And it really helps us flesh out the community in which he operated, right?
What's good, everybody? It's your brother Nubreed coming through with another live stream. And the Trump administration is working overtime trying to seal those documents. Man, first and foremost, peace and blessings to everybody. I see Tamia's in the building. Jason G is in the house. Akira's in the building. Maria Reeder, Kat, Anthony Daniels, Divine Royalty. I see y'all. Make sure y'all double tap the screen on your way in. So Trump is doing everything he can to deflect, distract, and ultimately hide those files. In case y'all are new to this platform, we go right down the middle. We're not Democrat, we're not Republican. We just talk politics, right? But nonetheless, it's not looking too good for the Trump administration. Right now, it's all over the news. Epstein's emails said that Trump was alone with one of the victims for hours upon hours at Epstein's house. That came directly from Epstein. So he has been implicated by Jeffrey Epstein in a series of emails to Ghislaine Maxwell, as well as a known author. His last name is Wolff. And it's getting real dirty out here in the White House. But nonetheless, they're doing everything they can to try to hide the files.
And I'm not saying operated when he was doing his nefarious activities, but he was deeply enmeshed in this sort of elite culture that is being revealed here. And of course, the thing that people are most attentive to here is the fact that Donald Trump was similarly enmeshed, right? There's one email, for example, where Epstein makes casual reference to this girlfriend who he gave to Donald Trump. And you do a little digging, and there they are in the mid-1990s. First, there's this woman standing with Jeffrey Epstein, and then she's standing with Trump. And the photo of her and Epstein is in Mar-a-Lago. And like all of these ways in which Trump is tied in here, that it really just makes you say, not only like what else is there, but like why didn't they rip the Band-Aid off when they said they were going to rip the Band-Aid off? Because now we get this drip, drip, drip that keeps coming out, and now we're still talking about it after he's been in office for 9 months.
So Republicans, Mark, some want to politicize this and say this is just a smear campaign being led by Democrats, but it's not.
Well, it started with Republicans.
But that's it, a huge portion, not just of the MAGA base, but MAGA influencers have been doing. I mean, the basis of MAGA at its start, at its core, has been we're unhappy with the United States of America because it's a two-tier justice system. It's a two-tiered economy. Things are not fair. What works for one group doesn't work for the. That's the root of this. On what ground can they say this is just Democrats smearing the president?
Well, the ground's really shaky. And the most chilling thing I heard about today was Lauren Boebert being called to the Situation Room, being confronted by the Attorney General, the head of the FBI, and the Deputy Attorney General, trying to get her to change her vote on this.
Yeah, they trying to shake down all the officials, man. You know, they trying to shake them down and instill some fear into a lot of people. Even a lot of Fox News pundits, they going right down the middle with this. They like, hold on now. We seen the emails, you know, they're not even jumping out of the window to defend Trump. So nobody is defending Trump on this. Nobody is. And see, MAGA's core, they voted for Trump because they believe he was going to drain the swamp. You know, a lot of those MAGA folks, they thought that he was going to release the files. Only dirty MAGA, only dirty, musty, ratchet MAGA. You know, that's the only people who like, it's just Democrats making up stuff. Most of America, over 60% of Americans want those files released. So that's what's really going on. But nonetheless, let's continue.
So I've got a whole new respect for Lauren Boebert, because if she changed her vote, they wouldn't be voting on it next week. And by the way, now that they're voting on it, it's going to be really hard for a lot of those Republicans not to vote yes, right?
Okay, so that's my question. Max, what does it mean that every single House Republican will now have to vote on the record about releasing the Epstein files, who, again, people across the political spectrum in this country, people who don't care about politics whatsoever, are just saying, give me a break. What the hell's in this thing?
Sure. I mean, the story of the Republicans for the last decade has been their willingness to do anything to win the next.
You hear what she just said? People who that's not even really invested in politics want those files released. They like, look, just release the files. There's a lot of victims. You know, this has been dragged on long enough, and Trump administration is trying to stop that from happening. Now, why would Trump's administration be trying to stop that from happening if he's innocent? That's a logical question, right? If Trump has nothing to hide, why not just exonerate himself? Just release the files. See, it's scary to really conceive the idea that there's a lot of people on the right side, government, you know, conservative side, alleged conservatives who may be hiding PDF files. It's inconceivable for a lot of people, but it looks like that's what's happening. And I'm not saying there's not people on the left that's on the files, because I believe there is. What we got to understand is if those files are released, it's going to be names you would have never expected. And I'm talking about millionaires and billionaires of every industry would be on that list. Make no mistake about it, including politicians on the left too, and on the right. So what it looks like is they're protecting someone. But let's go.
Election. Now, that calculus has kind of overlaid with a desire to do whatever Trump wants because he's controlled the base. Now, I'll one-up your Lauren Boebert story with Nancy Mace. Nancy Mace is running for governor, South Carolina. Strong. That's Donald Trump country. She has signed this petition right alongside Lauren Boebert, and he said to her, we all know he has said to her, that he will not endorse her in this primary. If she stays on this, she's still on it. Donald Trump's power is declining right before our eyes amongst his base.
Mm-hmm. Gentlemen, what does it tell you that it's women standing up to him? I'm just going to leave that there.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. There's a lot of women that's standing up to Trump. And, even, Jasmine Crockett, She put in a lot of work. You got the black woman that was a federal judge that made him run them stamps back before they opened the government back up. Yeah, and then he got these women who were victims, and they doing what they doing too. So he got a lot of women coming after him. All right, but that's what's happening. But let's go.
Take us inside the White House.
If I could first, though,
Please.
There was an effort, we should note, by Republicans after the discharge petition was put forward today, in which they tried to avoid having a vote on this at all. A unanimous consent is what they call it.
Explain.
So essentially, there would be no vote of yay or nay. And Democrats, they stopped that from happening and said, no, there will be a vote. And you House Republicans will be on the record next week. And it's also going to be the Senate Republicans that are now going to have it knocking on their door. And to your point, Max, here, you are looking at a constituency that has been promoted or galvanized politically around this idea of this pedophilia cabal. Right? It was Jack Posobiec, this popular right-wing podcaster who was the one who was big in promoting Pizzagate, right? The idea that this in the basement of the DC pizza parlor, there was a sex trafficking ring. Well, he's close with J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance back in 2021 was calling for the full release of these files. And so here we are. Here is this moment up on Capitol Hill, and now the White House is literally calling these individuals. They're in the situation to have this conversation inside the White House right now.
So even at one point in time, our vice president was trying to get those files released. Interesting.
I think it's worth noting. How often does Donald Trump take questions when cameras are welcomed in? He can go on for an hour at a time most days. What did he do tonight after signing the bill to reopen the government? He was asked about Jeffrey Epstein, the end of questions, and the cameras were let out.
Okay.
That's right. I'm telling you, man, Donald Trump, he only opened the government back up as a distraction. Yo, that's how wild this is. It's like, okay, let me give him another big news break. Let's open the government back up. Actually, the government been open back a few days ago, but it was an official announcement by the president right when this came out as a what? As a distraction. That's all it is. Yeah, he's a runner. He's a track star. Trump got up out of there because he can't answer no questions. Listen, what was found in those emails was damaging. It was really damaging. It was damaging. I see a couple dirty MAGAs sprinkled off in here. Listen, hey, I know you got a hatred for Democrats. Hey, I don't like them either. But see, this ain't about right or left on this platform. It's about right or wrong on this platform. Yeah, he got up out of there. I'm telling you.
Do you know what's so interesting? We're going to talk about this dinner that happened at the White House later, right? Donald Trump had this dinner tonight with all these business leaders. I talked to people close to those leaders who said there's going to be a pool spray. They're going to talk to reporters somehow. And Trump would have loved that, being flanked by all these big business people from New York, yet they didn't talk to reporters. Here's one for you. Republicans' response to the emails that Democrats released by releasing thousands of their own. And in that, it included one email. Again, Republicans released it, an email where Jeffrey Epstein wrote, quote, "I know how dirty Donald is."
Sheesh.
I don't know. That's a wow. What were they thinking?
Yeah,
they didn't notice that one was in there, or
it's
they're
quite
like
possible. Yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot of information.
There's a lot of emails that we just don't know that's there. There's a lot of emails. Y'all remember Jasmine Crockett? She said, "Oh, they got plenty of emails. It's just the beginning." So although he's trying to stop the files from being released, listen, they're gonna bleed him out. They're gonna slow leak. This is a slow leak. Y'all gonna see every other day for the next 2 weeks. There's gonna be new emails, and we're gonna be like, "Damn, oh, it's not looking too good." I don't know how anybody can comfortably defend Donald Trump right now. I don't know how you can comfortably do that. You just got to look at how he's moved since this whole Epstein thing was brought up. He was threatening people. Look, stop talking about Epstein. Are we still talking about that? Like, yeah, you got elected and said you were going to expose all this. So MAGA, they upset right now, but it is what it is. Let's go.
It's quite possible that one slipped through. It's, one of the things that's fascinating is we're having this conversation. We talk about how the base has been pushing for this and how prominent voice has been pushing for this. But it really is this entire manifestation of Trumpism that the only person who isn't involved in it is Donald Trump, right? Donald Trump himself was the only person who ever put the brakes on this. I remember the Fox News interview he had when he was running, and they were asking him, should these files be released? And he's like, well, yeah, probably. And then they clipped out the part where he said, well, maybe not, because a lot of people will get sort of, dragged through the mud if you do. Donald Trump's the only person who he stoked this idea that the elites are bad and are out to get you, that really built up into QAnon and this idea that there was this cabal of pedophiles drinking kids' blood and all these insane things. And he was fine with that. He was fine with that as president.
I mean, it is, though. People just didn't know he perhaps was a part of it. And Donald Trump used a lot of right-wing news podcasters. He used a lot of people, a lot of influence, Alex Jones and Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes. And he used all of these people who are more in the vein of conspiracies to get elected. It was their influence that got Trump elected. They said, well, Trump is one of us. And once we get him in the office, then he's going to drain the swamp. And, he promised that he would expose these elitists. But people didn't understand this billionaire baby. This man been a billionaire since he was a kid. He's been to the Rothschild parties, allegedly. Those elaborate parties when they throwing masks on and dressed like animals and on some eyes wide shut, tree hugging, Bohemian Grove. Like Trump, listen, he's a billionaire baby, bro. Like, you don't think he's a part of the elite? I don't, for the life of me. This is what gets me about MAGA. This is what I'm trying to understand about y'all. How did Donald Trump, a billionaire baby, actually convince you all that he was one of y'all? I don't know how he did it. The man was wrestling Vince McMahon. He almost got stunned by Stone Cold in the ring. Like, what are we? This man been on TV since forever. Like, what are y'all thinking? See, but hey, he's moving real flaky, and it should be apparent what's going on at this point. Let's go.
But when it comes to this particular thing, and now, of course, that raises the obvious question, right? Like, if you're Lauren Boebert and you're getting leaned on in the Situation Room, not only why would you change your mind, why would you change your mind today, right? Like, if you come out today,
that
right?
was
Like,
so much worse.
Exactly.
Right? For her and them.
But combine this, right? So much of this fury over the last 10 years has been around these conspiracy theorists that there are these powerful people trafficking minors. Ghislaine Maxwell is in jail. She is serving a 20-year sentence for crimes, including conspiring to sex traffic minors.
Exactly.
And now we've got a whistleblower while she's now in this minimum security prison
that Trump put her in. He put her in a nice cushy summer camp. He said, she's done her time. She would wait. I thought she was stealing young girls off your Mar-a-Lago ranch. And you decided that you're going to help her go to a cushy summer camp type jail and say, quote unquote, I'm the president. If I want to exonerate her, if I want to completely, if I want to pardon her, I could do that. That's what Trump said. Now, why would he do that? Like, this is not rocket science, people. Let's go.
She decides between working out today or playing golf, who says she's working on trying to get her sentence commuted from Trump.
Well, I mean,
wow.
How did we get here?
I mean, boy, you just track that down the line. It's pretty obvious what's going on. And This ends nowhere good, and it's going to be a monstrous distraction for the president, and this is going to go.
The cowboy is right. It should be anybody with astute observation skill, anybody who's just have any deductive reasoning skills should see what's happening right now. Yeah, these damn weirdos and freaks. That's what's going on. The weirdos and the freaks about to get exposed. And it's not looking too good for the Trump administration. His approval rate is in the trash can right now. It's in the trash. It's not looking good. Fox News is not on his side. None of the news is on his side right now. It does not look good. The economy is not looking good either. I might have to say this. We got to let this be known. Some of y'all not going to be happy with what I'm about to say, but I'm going to argue that Trump has done more damage to our economy than Joe Biden. And I'm going to say that Trump did it in way less time. I'm going to say it. You could take that and do what you like with that, but that's what it is. If you're looking at the tariffs and what happened and how this thing is going, I believe he did worse than Biden. Because hey, anyway, we'll get back to that.
On for weeks, if not months more. I don't think it's fatal politically, because again, how many people out there are surprised today that Donald Trump was in these emails? I think very few, really. And I think the thing that Democrats have to be careful with is prosecute this to the fullest extent, get them on their heels, but get back to affordability. This is not going to win the election.
That is a great point. Can you talk to us about, in the emails, it appears that Epstein is claiming he was
I got a Trumpster in here that wants to argue me, and I want to respond real quick. He says you believe that because you're ignorant. Well, Biden has spent $500 billion on AI. Biden didn't release tariffs. He didn't put tariffs out there. Biden didn't do as many cuts on subsidized living and things of that nature. He literally didn't do all of that. Trump hurt the poor and the middle class. Trump hurt the poor and the working class citizens. Biden, on the other hand, just hurt working class citizens, but not even at the magnitude that Trump did. That's my argument. Anyway, let's go back. What did she just say? Let's go back.
Emails, it appears that Epstein is claiming he was advising Russian government officials on how to deal with Trump during his first term. What do you know about this?
Right, this is just actually a month before the Helsinki summit there, where President Trump said that he believed essentially Russian President Putin over U.S. intelligence agencies. And a month before that, he is emailing with somebody who he saw as being a potential intermediary with the Russians to begin a conversation and to introduce him to Lavrov. And he makes the case there quite explicitly that he thinks that he understands Trump and knows how to speak Trump, essentially offering his services to the Russians. I mean, it's I think, damning when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein. But I think that, again, there's no evidence that Donald Trump, used Jeffrey Epstein as his own intermediary with the Russians. But I think, again, what this tells us here and what it tells the American public is that there is such a power structure that bears out in these emails.
Yo, I'm telling you, man, this is about hiding the secrets of the elite. Now, I want to show you some of the things he's doing. He's going out his way to try to stop these files from being released. And we got to address that. Because why is he working overtime like this to stop these files? What does he have to hide here? The White House responds. The Epstein emails, the White House respond. And this is on Fox News. I need y'all to hear this.
The president and his team are questioning the timing of the new Epstein emails that were released earlier today by Democrats. Senior White House correspondent.
They're questioning the timing? Well, why'd you release it now? Like, what? I heard what Epstein said in the emails. He said, I was with one of the victims. He says I was with one of the victims. Said I was with her for many hours at his home. That's not true. But why y'all release this now? That's just not that these allegations are false and it was an act of blackmail. He may have visited, but no, he wasn't with nobody. He wasn't alone with no victims at the house. No, he said the timing. Why did they do this at this timing? Let's go.
Peter Ducey has that part of the story for us tonight. Good evening, Peter.
Good evening, John. Officials here are claiming that if congressional Democrats really cared about advocating for Jeffrey Epstein's victims, then we would have heard a lot more from congressional Democrats about Jeffrey Epstein during the 4 years that Joe Biden was president. And instead, we are seeing these.
So basically, Trump was like, well, why y'all didn't release the files? Why wasn't y'all putting this much pressure when Biden was in office? That's Trump's argument. Well, here's your answer, Trump. People are putting more, I would say, assertion in this situation because you were the one who promised that you were going to drain a swamp, that you were, you're going to release the files. You had all the conspiracy theorists on your side. You had all the real conservatives on your side thinking that you were going to really, shake the hornet's nest up and release the files. So now that you're in office, people are like, okay, we want those files released. And now they're finding out that you were closer to Epstein than they thought. So now your core audience, not talking about Dirty MAGA, they just some musty hills have eyes, prejudiced, bigoted, hey sir, stop, that's your sister. They just worship Donald Trump, right? They just some Hulk Hogan loving, just alligator eating, fried rabbit eating, just that's what they are. That's what Dirty MAGA is. They just gonna follow anything Trump say. But core MAGA, they like, yo, release the files. Core MAGA's like, release the files. I'm telling you. Let's go.
Big leaks like the one today, selectively, according to the White House, that claims that Donald Trump knew in 2011 about Epstein's crimes.
Yeah, Epstein said it in the damn email. Oh, Trump know what we doing. Matter of fact, if he better behave. And if he gets elected, this is what Epstein was saying. If he get elected, he's going to behave. He's going to help us out. That's how close he was, allegedly. Let's go.
These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong.
What? That's what she got from them emails? Hey, you got to love Fox News, bro. You got to love Fox News. Epstein releases an interview to releases an email, sends an email to Ghislaine Maxwell saying, yeah, hey, Trump been alone with this victim for all these hours alone at the house. And she says only thing it proves is, he ain't do nothing wrong. Yo, I'm telling you. Yo, Fox News is hilarious, bro. Fox News is hilarious. Anyway, let's talk more about T. Diddy over here. That's Trump's new name, T. Diddy.
The president himself muses the Democrats are trying to bring up the Jeffrey Epstein hoax again because they'll do anything at all to deflect on how badly they've done on the shutdown and so many other subjects. Only a very bad or stupid Republican would fall into that trap.
When Joe Biden was sitting in there, the Democrats never brought this up. This wasn't an issue that they cared about because they actually don't care about the victims in these cases. They care about trying to score political points against President Trump.
If the Democrats don't care about the victims and the Republicans do, since the Republicans are in power, why not just release the files? What am I missing here? All T. Diddy got to do is release the files. That's it. That's it. Let's go, man.
White House officials would much rather talk about their hope that the House will soon vote to reopen the government.
There are no coincidences in Washington, D.C., and it is not a coincidence that the Democrats leaked these emails to the fake news this morning ahead of Republicans reopening the government.
Coming out of the shutdown, President Trump's approval on the economy in
Damn, look at that disapproval rate. Sheesh. Man, look, and this is on Fox News, bro. Man, this is on Fox News, man. It's a sad day to be MAGA, bro. It's a sad day to be MAGA. So this is Fox News showing you his approval rate on the economy. I mean, like, yo, Donald Trump is literally pushing an economic collapse. He's pushing an economic collapse. It's on all the news stations. And listen, the reason why I found a necessity to put this kind of content out is because it's like whatever type of magic or sorcery the Trump administration has over the people, it's like they can say things that are not true. They can say things like, oh, groceries are better than they ever been. Gas is cheaper than it ever been. And it's like, what the hell are you talking about? It's not true. So here you have it. Fox News is letting it be known. Look at this.
An AP poll is 33%, but the Treasury Secretary urges Americans worried about affordability to be patient.
Trump said he don't want to hear nothing about affordability. He said he don't want to hear nothing about affordability. Let's go.
The inflation line, we've got that under control. It's leveled out. That is going to start turning down. Then there's the income line. I would expect in the first quarter, second quarter of next year, those two lines are going to cross, and the American people are going to start feeling better.
The new AP poll finds the president with a 34% approval on health care, the very issue the Democrats held on to at the start of the shutdown. But negotiations about next steps for Obamacare subsidies haven't yet been scheduled.
You can't trust the same people who broke the system to fix it, and so the American people will continue to hear from the president on this issue.
Tonight, President Trump is going to host a late dinner with some Wall Street bigwigs, including the CEOs of J.P. Morgan and Morgan Stanley and BlackRock, as officials here try to steer the national conversation back towards the economy.
So he's going to be meeting up with all of the damn Illuminati elite tonight. That's what's going to happen. He's going to be in that billionaire circle talking about the economy. And honestly, all of those groups, organizations, and people, they don't give a rat's ass about the poor or the middle class. You know, they trying to line their own pockets up. But anyway, let's go.
John.
Wouldn't that be a good thing? Get off the shutdown and back to things that people really care about. Peter Ducey for us at the White House. Peter, thank you.
That they should be allowed to withhold food stamp funding that Congress lawfully approved. They were ordered by 3 separate courts to distribute food assistance and are still fighting to withhold it.
The debate starting on the House floor over the continuing resolution to reopen the government. Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro making some points there about SNAP benefits. Let's bring in our panel for more on all of this. Fox News.
That's a congresswoman. She got to be Democrat. She in there with the purple hair and everything. If Fox News think they slick, they be showing the wildest Democrats. Let's go.
Contributor Molly Hemingway, Democratic strategist Megan Hayes, and Fox News contributor Mark Thiessen. So as we head toward what is expected to be a positive vote on reopening the government, and we look forward to that, we're left to wonder where the Democratic Party sits right now. Here's what Political Playbook said. The fault lines facing both parties. Tales of Democratic disarray are hardly new, of course, but have amped up dramatically since Sunday night's Senate cave-in. And it's rough out there. We're seeing new levels of vitriol from the party's already fractious progressive base towards its moderately minded establishment. Importantly, that same anger is being voiced by ambitious centrist Democrats eager to jump aboard the populist train. You've got a divide that's becoming a chasm here, Megan.
I just see this a little bit differently. The Democrats in the Senate didn't have any leverage if they waited till the end of the year. Their only leverage was health.
Yo, they say there's thousands. According to the headline, it says suspicious timing as thousands of Epstein documents are on the verge of being released. Thousands? So it's like he might as well just release the files. They're coming out anyway. They're being leaked. Yo, hey. They found thousands, man. We knew this was coming, man. It was only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time, people.
So they needed to get a vote for health care, and that's what they got. They also got RIFT employees to be reestablished into the government. They got back pay for them, and they also got this vote on health care. So they did what they needed to do, and it's unfortunate that we are going to turn against each other, but the 8 senators who voted...
It's unfortunate we're going to have a circular firing squad,
but they didn't have any leverage. So this is what they needed to do. We're going to open back up the government, and we can have it. We can start working on a solution towards health care.
Where do you think this is headed, Molly?
Well, you know, I do think that the shutdown, if it had any logic, I mean, people are talking about this as being the most pointless shutdown that we've ever experienced in our country.
Yeah.
But if it was designed to achieve electoral win.
Look, let's go back to these files. Let's go back. Let's keep the pressure on. You hear me? Let's go back.
Earlier today.
Oh, hold on. That's the wrong one right there. Everybody double tap the screen, get the likes up. There's been a lot of fallout, a lot of MAGA fallout because of these files.
The fallout from the congressional release of files related to Jeffrey Epstein, including emails in which the convicted sex offender mentions Donald Trump. Pressure is growing this morning for more of the Epstein files to be released by the Justice Department. Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce is tracking the latest. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, George. And these messages are sparking fresh questions about President Trump's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. The White House denies any wrongdoing by the president, but the administration still refuses to release the full FBI files on Epstein. And now this morning on Capitol Hill, an effort to force their...
And you know, Trump got Cash Patel in his back pocket, bro. You know, I don't know what Cash Patel, that man, his eyeballs always popping out his socket. He be looking terrified, bro. I don't know what's up with Cash Patel. I don't trust him. He got these big beady eyes. He always look like shook up, like they just be threatening his family. Like he just look like Cash Patel just be looking like they threaten his family all the time, every day. It's like he just looks shell shocked, and you know. That's crazy. But yeah, so as you can see, the White House is actively working to stop them files from being released. There's actually a lot of fallout, according to the news. The White House is trying to stop it from coming out. It's one thing for you to say, hey, you know, it's not a big deal. We're not really focusing on the files. We got this going on. But when you actively trying to stop it after your name got connected to these emails, man, I wouldn't be surprised if there's videos. Telling you. I wouldn't be surprised, y'all.
House correspondent Mary Bruce is tracking the latest. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, George. And these messages are sparking fresh questions about President Trump's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. The White House denies any wrongdoing by the president, but the administration still refuses to release the full FBI files on Epstein. And now this morning on Capitol Hill, an effort to force their release is finally moving forward. This morning, as the White House downplays newly released emails from convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein repeatedly discussing President Trump, an effort on
You can't downplay this. You just can't downplay this.
Capitol Hill to force a vote on the release of the full Epstein files, garnering its final signature. Congresswoman Adelita Grijalva sworn in after a 7-week delay, signing on to the petition to force a vote on the files' release as her first act in Congress.
I will sign the discharge petition right now to release the Epstein files.
The White House is well aware that a vote would put Republicans in an uncomfortable position. Many of the president's supporters have previously called for their release.
I mean, America, what do we have to lose? The economy is in the dumpster. Trump's approval rate is below the trash can right now. What do we have to lose? Let's go back.
In an uncomfortable position. Many of the president's supporters have previously called for their release. In an attempt to stop the petition, top White House and Justice Department officials, including the Attorney General and FBI director, attempting to pressure Congresswoman Lauren Boebert into removing her name from it, meeting with her Wednesday in the Situation.
It's like the women got more heart than the men, bro. That's what I'm noticing. It's like the women got more heart than the men. The men, they're afraid of Trump. They're afraid, you know what I mean? They don't want to speak up, but these women ain't playing. Let's go.
But it didn't work. Boebert, ultimately one of 4 Republicans who signed on in support. We pressed the White House.
But given your interest in transparency, Caroline, why are White House officials then meeting with Representative Boebert in an effort to try and get her to not sign this petition calling for the release of the files? Doesn't it show transparency that members of the Trump administration are willing to brief members of Congress whenever they please?
It comes just hours after House Democrats.
I will give Trump this, man. Gas went down about 60 cents. I give him that. Gas did go down about 60 cents. Other than that, nothing. Nothing. Everything else is up, so it makes up for it. Let's go.
Released those emails obtained from the Epstein estate, showing the convicted sex offender discussing Trump and seeming to suggest he had information he never shared. In a 2011 exchange with his co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein writing the, quote, dog that hasn't barked is Trump, adding one of his victims spent hours with Trump at Epstein's home, but that Trump had never once been mentioned. Maxwell replying, I have been thinking about that. House Republicans in the White House identifying the victim as Virginia Giuffre, who once worked at Trump's spa at Mar-a-Lago. Giuffre said she never saw Trump do anything inappropriate. She died by suicide earlier this year.
I don't believe it was Giuffre. The name was redacted. We don't know who it was. All we know is that Epstein claims that Trump was alone with a victim at his house for several hours. We don't know nothing else. We don't know who it was. I don't know why the news keeps pointing to her, the woman who said that Trump didn't do anything inappropriate. But, you know, also it could have been out of fear. You know, this is the U.S. president we talking about. And I don't believe she committed self-deletion. I don't believe she did that. Because all of a sudden she offs herself right when the talks of a grand jury come up. All of a sudden she off herself. I'm just not believing that.
In a 2018 text exchange, someone whose name is redacted wrote to Epstein, "It will all blow over. They're really just trying to take down Trump and doing whatever they can to do that." The context of the message is unclear, but Epstein responding, "It's wild because I am the one able to take him down." Trump and Epstein were...
He said, if anybody could take him down, it's me. Because I seen all of what he did. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, man, it's coming directly from Epstein himself. Here's what it is.
Friends for more than a decade.
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th.
Damn. He had to plead the fifth. He pled the fifth, sixth, and fourth amendment. Gladiator, thank you for the support. Says all praises to the Most High God in Christ. Peace, new breed, blessings to everyone. Trump is selfish and about making his friends rich. They're greedy. I agree. 100%. Thank you for the support.
After Epstein's arrest in 2019, Trump said he hadn't spoken to him in 15 years. He insists he broke off the friendship when he learned Epstein and Maxwell were luring away young female staffers who worked at Mar-a-Lago.
He stole people that worked for me. I said, don't ever do that again. He did it again, and I threw him out of the place.
He kept stealing the girls. Him and Ghislaine kept stealing them. I said, stop stealing my girls from my Mar-a-Lago ranch. They just kept stealing them. It's like, what? So you knew this nigga Epstein and his broad was out here stealing underage girls? And it took all of that, all this political pressure for you to admit, yeah, Will, they were my friends. They came over, had cocktails, and I'd be like, damn, where's my massage girl at? It's like they kept stealing my girls off my ranch. Like, do you hear this, y'all? Do y'all hear what's going on in America? Do this not sound crazy? It's crazy. They just kept stealing them. Listen.
I'm out of the place.
They kept just walking them out.
Again, and I threw him out of the place. Persona non grata. I threw him out, and that was it.
Yo, they got an answer for everything, bro. Like, look, and they're about to show the email here. This is crazy, bro. I mean, he's talking like a pimp. They just kept stealing the girls off the. Yo, America can't do this, man. It's just. All right, let's go. Let me keep my composure. This is just crazy stuff, man. T. Diddy out here losing his girls. Let's go.
2019 email to author Michael Wolff, Epstein writing, Trump said he asked me to resign. Never a member ever. Of course, he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop.
So he asked Ghislaine Maxwell, hey, look, stop coercing the young girls that I have. Stop coercing them. Because every time y'all come over here to have cocktails, one of my girls is missing. Please tell Ghislaine Maxwell, stop stealing my girls. Yo, do y'all hear this? I can't do it, bro. It should be obvious what the hell is going on here. And we act like these people aren't in these rings together. T. Diddy had a stable of underage girls working at the ranch. And look, Epstein, he was like, Trump never asked me to resign or, stop me from being a member. I was never a member. I would go, and I'm paraphrasing. Epstein was like, I would go there. I would bring the roofies. Look, they would bring the roofies, bring the drugs. Bring Ghislaine Maxwell. There was a master manipulator coercing young girls to go with her. To end up going to this island. Trump was thick as thieves with them. Like, look, when I come to your island, when I come to your home, that's one thing, but you can't come over here and just be taking girls. That's what T. Diddy was saying, pretty much. Y'all, look, whatever I do over there, and on the island, whatever I do over there, that's between us. But you just can't come over here snatching my girls. That's what was happening. I mean, I'm telling you, it's ghetto in that White House. This is American politics is ratchet, bro. This is messy. This is real messy work going on.
Now, Ghislaine Maxwell is currently serving a 20-year sentence for sex trafficking. Sources say.
And now Trump like, I'm gonna let Ghislaine out. I'm considering pardoning her. All well is in well. Yeah, you stole a couple of my girls. I gave y'all some. Y'all don't see what this is about. He like, I'm gonna let Ghislaine out. I'm the president now. Hey, look, it wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault. Yeah, we're gonna move you to a cushy. You're gonna move you to a cushy cell. It's gonna be like summer camp. Look, let this stuff roll over, and I'll let you out. As long as you just keep everything off the radar. If you just know how to just be quiet, perhaps I can go ahead and pardon you. Right now, we're gonna put you in a nice jail. It's gonna be like summer camp. Look, you're gonna have a fireplace in there. We're gonna make sure you got a nice cushy bed. You're gonna get a nice rec time, get you some gardens. And then later on, when this all blows over, before I leave office, perhaps I can go ahead and I can exonerate you, pardon you, give you a full pardon. If this ain't no criminal enterprise BS, man, if this man don't need no impeachment, but you telling me Bill Clinton, on the other hand, he got impeached for getting Monica Lewinsky. Make this make sense. Anyway, let's go.
She's angling for a pardon, and when asked about it, Trump hasn't ruled it out. Now, as for that petition to force the files released, Speaker Johnson, who's gone to great lengths to avoid a vote, now says he'll bring it to the floor next week.
Right, and you talk about great lengths, Mary. Pretty extraordinary to have the Attorney General and the FBI Director in the White House Situation Room lobbying a member of Congress. We've never really seen anything like that before.
We certainly haven't, George. They are going to great lengths, as you said, to try and stop these full files from being released. But as we said, that
they trying their best to stop them files from being. They're already being leaked. You can't hide it. Yo, the files are being released, y'all. You heard it here first. These files are being released. Trump has been trying a long time, practically his whole term. He's been trying to hide this. It just keeps coming back. And every time it comes back, we get a step closer to those files being released. It's too many votes. And then the country's not happy. See, Trump thought he can come up in here and be a complete dictator and rule with an iron fist, but he's made a lot of enemies on that trail. And it's not looking good. There's an implosion going on in the right. He aligned himself with AIPAC, and core MAGA don't like that. It's all broken up into fractions. Gladiator, thank you for the support once again. He says, all praises to the Most High God and Christ, Nubreed, the word of God and Christ. Great mindset. Keep doing what the Most High will have you do. Absolutely. Thank you, brother. Yep.
as you said, to try and stop these full files from being released. But as we said, that effort simply didn't work here yesterday.
No, nope. Bruce, thanks.
Nope. The files are being released. And when you just look at what's going on in hindsight, man, it should be evident. It should be evident at this point what's happening. I'm telling you. But hey, that's a show. If you're new to the platform, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Welcome to one of the most interesting political channels you're going to find, because I'm not bought by anybody. I'm not paid for by the left. I don't have anybody lobbying for me. Look, I'm just speaking for foundational Black Americans, looking at politics from a very non-biased standpoint. And you're going to get the best commentary because of that. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, what this is about is exposing these falsehoods and some justice for the victims. That's what it's about, justice for the victims. So anything I can do to draw more awareness to it that's already been drawn, I'm going to do that. Look, I want to thank each and every one of y'all for watching the broadcast.